It's a lifesaver. Lifesaver. We get him set up with breakfast at 6 in the morning, and he doesn't wake anyone up. To this we've come.
Okay, I'm sorry, Erica. I've got to stop you right away. Can you face me when you're singing this, or
Yes.
put the camera? I need to see you. Do you have the accompaniment yet?
Mm-mm.
Okay. All right, we're still working on that. Hi, David. Welcome. Well, before Erica sings while David's here, let's just ask you our questions that came up with as we were talking before. Erica wanted to know if the green screen has to be any particular shade of green. No? I'm sorry, it was hard to tell.
I just wanted to move a bit further away from the TV. I just suddenly realized how loud it was, even with headphones. No, it doesn't really matter. It, in a real general sense, just being a well-lit green screen matters more than anything. Just as long as the camera can clearly read that is a shade of green that is very different than whatever your outfit is or such.
So we're thinking her outfit would be very similar to what she's wearing right now.
Perfect.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, in that sense, like, if you went with a lighter screen overall, like, just because it's black, but like, I don't. If you already have something, like I said,
I don't. I wanted to figure out what would be best before I bought anything.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's in a real general sense, it doesn't really matter. It's much more about the lighting. I think if I was to say, if there was something like having, yeah, I don't even know if like there's, I can't even recommend like a specific type of like felt or something that's like cheap and looks great. I just, it's kind of what.
Yeah, I'm thinking you might be able to just go down to Hobby Lobby or Michael's and get a piece of material, of cheap green material. That'd probably be cheaper than buying a sheet, although Amazon Basics are pretty cheap.
Right, yeah.
And might be less trouble. I don't know. Especially if you have something to hang it
at
on.
some point. That'd be the thing.
Yeah, we'd probably have to just like tape it to the wall or something.
I have done that with backdrops before. Like I think that's part of the whole DIY thing, especially right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you have? I hate to ask. Do you have any sort of like camera, video, photography lighting?
I have a ring light.
You have a ring. Okay. I mean, better than nothing. So if we do that and put it in the right room, then yeah.
It's a room that's in my basement. So there are obviously 4 walls in the room because that's how rooms work. And one of them faces this like, I don't know, little offshoot bedroom that is my husband's and the dog's room. They share it.
Mm-hmm.
And all his computer stuff is in there. Kind of in a way that my office is my office and the cat room.
Balance.
Yeah, so the other 3 walls, 2 of them have windows on them, and then I do have one wall.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, if we try to utilize those 2 with windows, get as much light as we can from there, play with whatever overhead lights you have, in the effort of not making you buy anything whatsoever. Maybe see what sort of lamps or even desktop. Because one thing I have done is I'll put like a decently high powered LED light in a desktop lamp, and you can get a pretty good light from that, and just for the cost of like $5-10.
Yeah, we have a couple of lamps.
I don't know if you can see, this is what I have. And I was going to buy myself a ring light, but honestly, these do really well. They're adjustable. I've got 2 of them. And
OT.
Yeah, no, they're not hot at all.
Oh no, I mean the brand. It almost looks like what?
I don't know. It was something cheap. I paid $15 a piece for them on Amazon.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Those look like those true light ones for knitting and for you to
Mm.
work, and also so you can really
You
see the
could
color.
it's a great desk lamp, but it's also, really good if I want to really make sure I have the light all on my face.
Yeah, no, that
Okay.
that
I'm not saying
that
you need
looks.
to buy something though, Erica. It's just I'm sure you can do.
Yeah,
I
we
have
have
done
two
many a
extra
thing with
lamps in
my,
there.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're good on lamps. Like
yeah.
we have we have two lamps sitting right. I don't know. That's the guest room down there. We haven't like put it
Mhm.
back together, but I'm pretty sure there are lamps.
And that's why I make the LED light bulb suggestion, because you can use them anyways, and that's also like an easy way to just make sure that everything has the same color real quick.
Right.
Um, so I don't know how much you know about color and all that, but like, long story short, if you have outside and then like super yellow lights and then bright LEDs, you'll get slightly different like
Mhm.
color palettes in different parts of the video. Um, which normally for this, it's like with this kind of DIY, not a big deal. Um, but it's another thing that can make the green screen, and it's all about like not just making the green screen disappear, but also making you look as good as possible on top of it. Um, so.
So the other question we had, David, is
Mhm.
as far as so it's basically the first part of the aria is just going to
Mhm.
be these things flashing across the screen. At some point, will bring her face in. Um, Hopefully, with those things still behind it.
Easy.
Or, but if okay, great.
with
And
and
then
it can all fade just to like let you be as artistic as you want, and all of it can fade in or flash as much as you want her as
okay,
well. So once that like is made and kind of that mask is made, it's really easy to do whatever with it.
okay, great. And then the second half is going to be mostly just a blackness behind her. Is that
Awesome.
something you're able to do? Or do we need to figure out a way to do it?
Ooh, it's not impossible. It might look better if you just put her in front. I mean, depending on how, if the music allows it, it might look better if you just put her in front of a black sheet.
Okay.
Truth be told,
Okay.
um,
Erica, do you have such a thing, a tablecloth or something? Because if you don't, I do.
Mm-mm.
Okay. So I could probably just mail this tablecloth to you,
yeah.
honestly. I have to look at it and make sure it doesn't have stripes, but because I think some of them I have like what ones
Hmm.
there'll be like a sort of shiny stripe or a textured stripe. It's not
Absolutely.
solid black. Um, but something like that could work.
Or a bed sheet if there's anything that's dark.
All our stuff is like my darkest bed sheet is gray.
Understandable. Um, yeah.
I'll
So
look and see.
that would be.
I might. The other thing, is maybe if you have the wherewithal, is run down to Goodwill and see if they have anything there. I buy tons of Spotlight stuff at Goodwill.
Yeah,
Um, yeah. So and I'll reimburse you for it if you get like just a sheet or something that
yeah,
you can put behind you.
yeah. I should probably thrift for Goldie stuff anyway, so I can get to a thrift store. I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
That
might
would.
even find a green sheet there. That might be the easiest thing. Total. It's always hit or miss, but maybe a dark blue would work too. Do we just want you to kind of look like you're in darkness and just have around? Um, okay, so I think that's all the questions we have for you, David.
Okay.
It's going to be this. There's not much staging to speak of. It's basically just these things behind her, and I've started
I
to
love it.
collect those photos, and I'll send them to
Awesome.
you. And let me just ask you, since I have you here, would it be easier
Yes,
for
ma'am.
me to do a PowerPoint and kind of show you what I have in mind, or just send them to you in order, give you an
Oh,
order?
I would if I could have if it's not too much trouble. If I could have both, um,
Okay.
the like a drive folder of all the
Hmm.
materials. Um, but also if it's convenient for you to sort of like storyboard it on PowerPoint, and if that's a good way for you to kind of show like this is the order that I'm thinking about with
Yeah.
whatever sort of details, that's an awesome way for me to look at it and figure that out.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So if both of
Great.
those are doable, that'd be fantastic.
Good. Erica, do you have any questions for David about setup or anything like that?
I think that should be good. I think the room is deep enough, so that shouldn't be a huge issue.
Awesome.
I have a Zoom mic that plugs into my phone and like maybe
Okay.
my iPad with that instead. I don't know.
Yeah, there won't be a huge difference between the two, unless one of them is a lot newer than the other. Uh,
I don't think so.
but
No.
like for a while, the chipsets and all the innards are pretty alike for the most part.
Yeah, I
So
don't have I only have the tripod that came on the ring light, so I'd have to get a new tripod.
yeah, I mean, I've used music stands all the time if that's something you have around, or even that cat tree if there's a good level. But
Carry that downstairs. There is a
oh, sorry,
convenient
no, you're
little.
right. It's wrong room. I forgot that.
We might have some. I have a bookshelf in that room as well.
I have had people pin stuff up between doors, like throwing it over the door and shutting the door. Just all kinds of things. So we all got very creative in this past year.
Yeah, haven't had a choice.
Even more. Yep, comes out of necessity. Well, if there's nothing else I can do for either of you, you hope I think you know how to reach me, Erica.
Yeah.
Um, so if there's anything I can do later, please let me know.
Thanks,
Thank you.
David.
You're very welcome. Hope we both have a good afternoon or good evening
Oh,
at this point. Happy staging.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay. So that all seems pretty straightforward.
yeah.
So my goals for this would be for us to start filming it as soon as possible, but obviously we can't do it until we have your recording. However, I have communicated with the music directors and let them know what my plan is because I'm trying to get this scene and another one staged this week. In terms, so after we have the staging, then you can shoot it. I don't think you need me to be there to shoot it unless you just want me to be. But what you'll do is you'll shoot it, you'll upload it to Drive. I'll take a look at it and say, we need to fix this or that. And so you can do several takes of it. And just depending on how you feel about it, shoot several takes. Tell me which one you're happiest with. And, we can go from there. We can just do it that way too. So you can shoot one, wait for my feedback, and then shoot another, or whatever works best for you and is least frustrating, because I don't want you to get frustrated about it. Okay. It's just a little bit, it's a really different process than when we're in
Yeah.
person, obviously.
It'll
Okay.
be easier. We're gonna be easier doing multiple takes of it, cutting it back. That'll make the feelings a little easier to deal with.
Yeah, and you know what? I find with stuff like this that sometimes you just have to let yourself go and have that breakdown, and then you can get past it for the singing purposes.
Yeah, when I did it, I recorded it in November, like we did it twice, and the first time, like just kind of let everything out, and had to take a minute to recover. It kind of felt like a dementor attack. I sat on the floor, cried, and ate chocolate. But then my feelings were so much more organized the second time.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I love the story. Martina Arroyo told the story about, the great African American soprano, and she told the story about singing Madame Butterfly, and she's it's it's right before Tutu Piccolo Dio, and so she's sitting on the floor crying, and Suzuki sends the kid that's playing trouble out to her, and this sweet little blonde-headed munchkin comes up to her and hugs her, and he says, "Don't cry, mommy, I'm here," and she said,
Oh,
"I lost."
oh,
And it was in a performance.
yeah. Oh my god. Oh,
Can you
that's
imagine
rough.
that happening right before you have to sing Tutu Piccolo Dio?
Oh my god. Oh Lord.
Yeah, how could you not? Anyway, okay, so yeah, no worries if that happens, no worries. Just let's just start it and
Okay.
just tell the story.
Yeah. To this we've come, that men withhold the world from men, no ship nor shore for him who drowns at sea, no home nor grief for him who dies on land. To this we've come, that man be born a stranger upon God's earth, that he be
that's where we got to bring you on screen,
Uh-huh.
and you too shall weep.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I
So
like that.
yeah, I think that's the place. And Erica, so practice, even though you won't be on screen before that, I want you to practice addressing the audience through the camera
Okay.
as who you're speaking to.
Okay.
Right now, you're speaking to yourself.
I'm all over the
Yeah.
place. Yep.
Yeah, your gaze is all over the place. You're shifting around in your seat. One thing, I love the passion that's in your voice, but one thing that you have to remember is that this woman is at the end of her rope,
Mm-hmm.
totally physically exhausted. It is cold. She's cold at home. She has very little left at home. She's sold everything she can sell. So she's not really eating
Mm-hmm.
properly. And she's physically and mentally exhausted,
Mm-hmm.
in every way exhausted. And like you said, I think you said this last time, this is like that last piece of energy that she draws out of herself. Because every time we see her after this, she is just like, you know,
She's like, there's nothing left in the scene with Assad. There's nothing. Like she's present, but
yeah,
it's like
I
she's
mean,
not.
and you think about her very last scene, I never meant to do this.
Yep.
That even that, she's just really sort of dragging herself in and through there. So I would I would just think of having a little bit more of that, especially in the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like that was it. What you were just what she just said to you, that was it. Okay?
Yeah. Explain to him. Let me look at what the is. Liar, liar, liar. That is impossible. Your case is difficult and most irregular. Cool.
Yeah. If you behave like this, I must ask you to leave. And you're just like, I'm the one that you should be taking care of, not all these rules and regulations. But it's just you don't even have the strength to argue anymore. You're starting off almost saying this to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So I would encourage you to start it off kind of gently and save that energy for papers,
Okay.
right? I mean, yes, you can certainly build up some of this. But yeah, we'll think of turning on the screen, and you too shall weep. And remember, you're going to deliver it right directly. I want your eyes right directly into the camera. Okay, without anger. It's just a statement of fact. Okay. Then the tempo picks up for if to men not to God we now must pray. Hold her accountable. Tell me, secretary. And secretary means all of you people out there, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We talked about like speeding up a little bit through each secretary to emphasize
Yeah.
it.
And then you can absolutely, some of the anger can come in by the time you say, tell me, secretary, tell me, have you ever seen the consul?
Mm-hmm.
Does he speak? Does he breathe?
Yeah, the concept that Kristen and I talked about where it was like she's figured out the game. There isn't really anyone behind it. Like she's figured it
Yeah.
out. She's on to her.
Yeah. Total Wizard of Oz moment.
Yep. You were so
Um,
talkative.
and then I'm not sure. I had the cuts mixed up, so I'll have to talk
Mm-hmm.
to Taylor about where this is happening.
Mm-hmm. You smell like cat food.
We might just do I don't know what you're talking about. Sign here, I said sign here. If that cut makes sense, maybe we'll do that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if it makes musical sense, but we can ask. You little man are a hoot.
He is. He is. Is. And when
It's
I
such a
teach, I have
baby.
my phone up here, and like they can't see him when he does this, but they can hear clonk, 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 and the tail go across.
Yeah. Well, Katie Snyder's cats are always up in her business, so I'm used to it.
Yeah,
All
he's a
right.
couple.
Do you want to go ahead and try again and sing a little bit and
Yeah.
just try to keep it calmer and really pace yourself because you're going to need it. Magda is a huge sing.
Yeah.
The orchestration's big for a lot of it. She's got a lot of singing to do, and as previously noted, it's incredibly emotional. So,
Mm-hmm. Practice kind of the camera thing too. What?
yeah.
You little goober. To this we've come, that men withhold the world from men. No ship nor shore for him who drowns at sea. No home nor grave for him who dies on land. To this we've come, that man be born a stranger upon God's earth, that he be chosen without the chance for choice, that he be hunted without the hope of raising light. To this we've come, to this we've come, and you too shall weep. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. It's to me, it's much more powerful if you really just sit there and tell the story. Music like this doesn't need a lot of movement to illustrate it. It's in your face, and you have a wonderful face for film and for the stage. You have big eyes. We really can see everything that's going. It makes it a lot stronger. And I think the difference in perspective is you're not singing it for yourself, right? You're singing it for the people out there in the dark. Okay, good. So do you want to continue and try to do some more?
Let's do
Good.
it.
Let's go.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And all of this whole section is still just like stillness singing into the camera, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I think you can now, if you want to change your focus a little bit, like if you take it in, for me, it would be some, if to if to them, not to God, we now must pray, tell me. You can use gestures if you want to. I think you can make it a little more realistic now because we
Okay.
started off with it being unrealistic and now we're moving into your world a little bit more. Okay?
Okay. If to men, not to God, we now must pray. Tell me, secretary, tell me, who are these men? If to them, not to God, we now must pray. Tell me, secretary, tell me, these dark archangels.
Okay, good. Really good. There was only one time that I saw your gaze just sort of dash away, and it was just your habit of doing that rather than it
Yeah.
being you trying to look at somebody. The one thing I don't want you to do though is to sway around in your chair. Okay?
Okay. Okay.
You're not making meaningful gestures. If you want to lean forward into the camera, say, tell me, secretary, tell me, that's one thing. But I don't want you just doing the this is what I do when I sing
Yeah.
movement. Okay? Because that takes away from it. Your voice was strong, your face was strong, your hand gestures were strong. Don't be afraid to get your hands up there and really make a big gesture. You
Okay.
know, you do want to make sure that you stay within your range because it'll look funny if if you're just doing that. We only see a little bit of it, but I just don't want you swaying around.
Okay.
Okay,
Yep.
so
Yep.
it's I know it's hard to sing into that little spot, but I
Yeah.
think ultimately this is going to help you, not only with your performance, but with some technique as well, because it just helps ground you a little bit more in your breath and your support. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, so let's lead into if to men, not to God, we now must pray. Because of course you're leading up to who are these dark archangels?
To man, not to God. There it is. Okay. If to men, not to God, we must pray. Tell me, secretary, tell me, who are these men? If to them, not to God, we now must pray. Tell me, secretary, tell me, these dark archangels, will they be conquered? Will they be doomed? Going?
Yeah, keep going.
Is there anyone behind those
All right.
doors?
So hold on for a second. What does this mean now? What do you want in this moment as you're saying this to her?
Does whatever is on the other side of that, because the door is completely metaphorical right now. Because you have your,
What do you
like,
want from the secretary?
I want her to tell me if anyone still cares, if anyone still gives a shit. And
Yeah,
she's not going to do that.
you want the truth from her, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's stop playing these games. Tell me the truth. So you are demanding, right? You're demanding the truth from her. Play demanding. Okay? Is there anyone really behind those doors? Does anyone still care? Tell me, tell me, tell me. You keep saying that to her. Have you ever seen the consul? Fess up. Come on, you're putting her on the spot. So put her on the spot. Demand of her. Don't let her escape your scrutiny
Okay.
as you sing this, okay?
Okay. If to me
I'm sorry,
not
go from is there anyone behind those doors?
okay. Is there anyone behind those doors?
Make her tell
To
you.
to whom the heart can still be explained. Is there anyone who still may care? Tell me, secretary, tell me, have you ever seen the consul? Does he speak? Does he breathe? Have you ever spoken to him? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that got really strong. Okay. You've got some tension in your shoulders there, right? So that part's not so good. But yeah, you started especially towards the end of that to really demand.
Mm-hmm.
So when always play the action, think about what your objective is and then how you're going to get it. You want the secretary to stop playing games and speak the truth or just admit that it's all BS. So you're demanding, you're digging to her, you're digging into her, you're not letting her off the hook. All of those things, that's what you're playing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that was it was really good. It really built up and it was great.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then we're gonna figure out that I don't know um I don't know what you're talking about. Sign here. I said sign here.
Yeah.
So then when you start papers, you're not going to throw it at first. You're not going to throw the
Yeah. And I told my husband if they recycle anything at work to kind of start bringing it back so I'm not just throwing around blank sheets of paper.
Yeah, great. So you'll do it actually at measure 105 where it says in the score to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. All right. Let's start from papers. If you've got the juice to do it, let's start from there.
Yep. Yep. I'll point up a little bit. I can probably sit back some a little more.
Mhm.
Okay. There we go. I'm very tall, so it's easy for me to like change how I am to try and make myself smaller to fit places.
I don't think you need to do that. I mean, if you're comfortable sitting, you can sit while you're doing this, but I think typically in the staging she would be standing up. But
Yeah,
it's whatever
I'll
you want
probably
to do.
stand. I'll probably stand.
Okay. All right.
That'll be fine. All right. So, do you just want me to sing it now, or think of anything in
Yeah,
specific?
just
Okay.
um
Okay. Papers, papers, papers. But don't you understand?
just sit still.
Yeah. Yep.
So what I'm hoping to find, just so to give you some perspective, is I'm hoping for there to be like I can find some video of papers falling behind you, um, slowly and then building up, almost like snow.
Mm.
Okay, just so you know.
All right. Holding still. Papers, papers. But don't you understand? What shall I do to make you understand? My child is dead. John's mother is dying. My own life is in danger. I ask you for help, and all you give me is papers. What is your name? Magnus Cyril, age 33, color of eyes, color of hair, single or married, religion and race, place of birth, father's name, papers.
Okay, good. So this stop right there. So this whole thing is a series of mountains and valleys. You're the first time that let's go ahead and have that stack of papers there. You're going to snatch them up in your hands and hold them, okay? And say, papers, papers, papers. But don't you understand? What can I tell you to make you understand? Emphasize that. It's crazy. It's crazy that she doesn't understand, right? And then there's this real down moment. There's this big chord, and she's exhausted again.
Oh.
My child is dead. John's mother is dying. My own life is in danger. I ask you for help, and all you give me are these goddamn papers, right? It's got to be a big build up to that. And all you give me is papers. And then, I'm sorry, the big buildup comes later, but this is a buildup because now it's, what is your name? Magda Sorrell, age 33. You can even take one, and start, saying, what is your name? Magda Sorrell, age 33. All these things that you're answering with these papers, so you build up through place of birth, father's name, mother's name, and then the big throw, papers, right? And you just go crazy. Then when you get through with all that papers of throwing it around, actually, just go crazy. You can look wherever you want. You have that moment of insanity, and then you come back to her
Mhm.
and say, "Look at me." Lean into the camera. Look at my eyes. Look at my hands, these old woman's hands. Show them to her. Why don't you say something? Aren't you human? And she still doesn't say anything. And now we start another buildup. So this whole thing, and you can tell by the music, she has these wild passages and it comes down to almost a whisper. There's nothing underneath you. Why don't you say something? Aren't you human beings like us? Right? And then we have this next thing.
Yeah, it's notable to me that the pitch gets higher here.
Yeah, yeah. And then we have this other, the next time you start again with what is your name, Magda Sorrell, age 33, what will your papers do?
Mhm.
And you can take time here. I mean, if you were singing this on stage, all these fermati, they're dramatic. And it
Mhm.
also, from a technical standpoint, gives you a place to rest a
Yeah.
little bit, right? They can't stop the clock. They're thin armor against a bullet. And now we start this other big buildup. What is your name, Magda Sorrell? Blah, 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 blah. What is your name? What is your name? What is your name? Right? It's almost like, what? And then she has this moment of clarity. And it
Mhm.
says, Menotti says, with great dignity and simplicity.
Mhm.
So this, again, this down moment where you're speaking very simply,
Mhm.
right? Exhausted.
Mhm.
My eyes, my name, my all these things. My occupation is waiting, 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 waiting. And she goes crazy again. And then she gets this moment of big power and sings this anthem,
Mhm.
okay? Which is very transformative.
Mhm.
We really see, the light of truth shining through her and the hope, which is why this piece isn't entirely dark, because are these moments of hope that she puts out there. So
Makes it
um,
more tragic at the end, doesn't it?
it does. Although, the last time I did it, not when I directed, but when I sang it, the director's idea was that music was triumphant. He saw it as, even though she had killed herself, um, the work she had been doing and the hope was living on, and that's what it was her resilience. She it didn't hurt. The fact that she killed herself in the end did not negate the work she had done.
And
So
that
that was
was
his take
just
on it.
and that was as much to save John as much as anything else. So maybe
Yeah,
there was some purpose to it,
yeah,
you know.
yeah. um yeah, and maybe somebody else will be inspired by her story and what happened to her and John, and maybe the next bunch won't fail. We'll see. Maybe John's loyalists will get him out of jail, and that will be, her death will be what he needs to spur him on to, that next thing. So anyway, we're out
Yeah.
of time now, but that gives you some ideas of how to work on it. And we'll try to have another session just to go through everything. Hopefully, once you get the music.
Okay. He said like
Um,
tomorrow or Wednesday, and I'm probably going to meet him again once I have it.
okay, good, good, good. So just go for as much variety in your sound as you can and practice. You want this to sound spontaneous. Find those hills and valleys. Find where you build. Find where your voice comes down to almost a whisper. Um, find where you can save your energy for that next big climb. Okay? Any questions?
I don't think so. Yeah, this is
Okay.
great.
Yeah, I'm very excited about it. I think it's going to end up looking great. So,
Yeah, for sure.
all right. Thanks a lot. See you
Thank
later.
you. Bye.
Bye.